3. This is the next lesson for chapter 2 of our differential calculus class. We have derivatives of algebraic functions. Okay, so first, let's have a review nung nakaraang lesson natin, yung pagkuha ng derivative using limits. Okay, so ito, we want to find out what is the derivative of y is equal to ax raised to n, where a is a constant. So, di ba yung steps natin? We introduce some small changes sa y at saka sa x. So, this becomes a times x plus delta x raised to n. Now, using binomial expansion, pwede nating i-expand to as x raised to n plus n times x raised to n minus 1 delta x plus n times n minus 1 over 2 factorial, then we have x raised to n minus 2, then delta x is squared, and so on hanggang sa delta x raised to n. So, yan yung binomial expansion ng binomial na to. Okay? Second step, we subtract yung original function natin, yung y equals ax raised to n dito sa bago nating form. May increase. So, we have delta y is equal to, may kita nyo, ang masusubtract lang naman yung axn. So, mawawala lang to, itong unang term ng binomial expansion. So, what we're left with is a, and then we have yung n x raised to n minus 1 delta x plus n times n minus 1 over 2 factorial, so x is squared and so on hanggang sa delta x raised to n. Now, if we divide both sides by delta x, what happens is we are left with the following, no? I-factor in ko na yung a, so we have a n x raised to n minus 1 plus a n minus 1 over 2 factorial x raised to n minus 2 delta x plus and so on hanggang a delta x raised to n minus 1. Now, if we take the limit as delta x approaches 0, lahat to merong delta x except the first term. So, eto magiging 0 and so on hanggang sa dulo magiging 0, and we are left with the derivative, which is the derivative of our function is a n raised to x, a n x raised to n minus 1. Ito yung derivative nung function na to. And we can use this basic derivative of this function to extract some basic rules, no? Okay, ano yung mga basic rules? Now, if n is 0, so if n is 0, ibig sabihin constant to. In other words, y equals a, di ba? Y equals a. What would be the derivative? So, makikita nyo dito, the derivative is now y is equal to a times, dahil 0 yung n, times 0, then x raised to negative 1. That would be 0. So, in other words, yung derivative ng constants is 0, and it makes sense kasi nga constant siya. Di ba ang derivative natin, ano siya? Ratio between changes nung variables. So, since changes in variables, constant siya. So, wala siyang change. 0 ang derivative. Okay? Now, if x kaya, so let's say so ilagay natin yung rule natin dito, no? Y is equal to a x raised to n. Ang derivative niya would be a times n x raised to n minus 1. Now, paano kung yung function ko is y equals x? In other words, yung a ko 1, yung n ko 1. So, ano magiging derivative nito? Ang derivative nito would be yung a ko is 1, yung n niya is 1, then x raised to 1 minus 1. So, ang derivative niya would be 1. So, the derivative of y equals x is 1. Okay? So, these are the basic rules that can be derived from getting the derivative of this function. So, ilista natin yung basic rules na yon. Yung basic rules, derivative of a constant is 0. Okay, pinakita kanina. The derivative of x raised to n, okay, in this case, yung coefficient na a ko is 1. That would be n times x raised to n minus 1. And the derivative of a function with a constant multiplier, pwede mong ilabas ng derivative yung constant multiplier na yon. So, the derivative of cv, where c is a constant, is c times the derivative of the function v, dv over dx. Okay? Another rule is that yung derivatives, pwede mong i-distribute, no? Meron tayong distributive property. For example, I have several functions, u, v, w, and so on. Kukunin ko yung derivative nung sum nila. What I can do is, I get the derivative of each part bago ko i-add. Okay, so distributive yung derivative. Okay, so let's solve some examples. For example, find y prime, so the derivative, if y is equal to 4x cubed minus 6x squared plus 12x minus 10. So if I want to get the derivative ng function na to, ang first step na pwede kong gawin is, pwede kong i-distribute yung derivative. So, instead of getting the derivative of the whole expression or the whole function, ang gagawin ko, i-derivative ko yung basic parts niya. So, we have the derivative of 4x cubed, okay? And then this is negative 6x squared. So, i-add natin yung derivative ng negative 6x squared plus derivative ng 12x plus derivative ng negative 10. Okay, so isa-isa. So, ang derivative ng 4x cubed from our definition kanina, if y is equal to ax raised to n, ang derivative niya is an then x raised to n minus 1. So, kunin mo yung 4 times mo nung exponent. So, we have 4 times yung exponent na 3 and then x raised to 3 minus 1. Okay, plus yung derivative nito, that would be negative 6. Exponent niya ay 2 and then we have x raised to 2 minus 1. Plus, we have 12x, so 12 times exponent ay 1, x raised to 1 minus 1, and then we have a derivative of a constant. Again, derivative of a constant is 0. So, we simplify, we get 12x squared minus 12x, okay, plus 12. So, the derivative or y prime is equal to 12x squared minus 12x plus 12. Next example, what is the derivative of y is equal to 5 over x squared minus 6 over x cubed? X cubed. Okay. So, ang gagawin ko dito, first is, nakikita nyo, nasa denominator yung x, gagawin ko siyang numerator, no? Para maging mas familiar yung form niya sa atin. So, we have 5x raised to negative 2 minus 6x raised to negative 3. Now, to get the derivative, again, we can distribute the derivative, no? Para makuha, we can get first the derivative of 5x raised to negative 2 bago yung derivative ng negative 6x raised to negative 3. Okay? Now, if you are, kung sanay na sanay ka na doon sa basic rules, actually, yung mga coefficients na yan, you can actually extract it out. Kasi nga, di ba, meron tayong rule na yung derivative ng CV where C is a constant, pwede mong i-extract sa labas ng derivative yung constant. Kung gagawin ko, lalabas ko yung 5 at dito, yung negative 6, ilalabas ko siya nung derivative operator natin. So, y prime is 5 times ano ang derivative ng x raised to negative 2? That would be yung exponent, so negative 2, and then we have x times negative 2 minus 1. Okay, minus 6, derivative ng x raised to negative 3, that would be yung negative 3 na exponent, and then we have x raised to negative 3, then minus 1. So, overall, pag sinimplify mo, ito yung makukuha natin, no? Negative 10, x raised to negative 3, minus plus 18, x raised to negative 4, or y prime is equal to negative 10 over x cubed plus 18 over x raised to 4. So, that is the derivative for example number 2. Example number 3. What is the derivative of y is equal to square root of 3x squared minus 7? 3x squared minus 7. So, okay, example number 3. Find y prime if y is equal to the square root of 3x squared minus 7. So, in this problem, meron tayong algebraic function sa loob ng isang square root. Pag ganito, we need another rule para makompute natin yung derivative. Ang tawag sa rule na yon is what we call the chain rule of differentiation. So, the derivative of a function of u with respect to x, so as you can see, the function is defined in terms of u, no? Hindi siya function of x. Ang derivative niya with respect to x would be yung derivative nung function with respect to u times yung derivative nung u with respect to x, and u is assumed to be a function of x. Now, in order to illustrate that, gamitin natin tong example na to. So, we let u is equal to 3x squared minus 7. So, kung yan yung u natin, ibig sabihin yung function natin would be y is equal to square root of u or u raised to 1/2. Okay. So, now we can get the derivative. Again, ang unang gagawin natin is we get the derivative with respect to u. So, eto, derivative with respect to u, that would be u na yung variable. So, since u raised to 1/2 to, ang derivative niya is 1/2 ng u, and then we have 1/2 minus 1. So, y prime is now equal to 1/2. And then, after that, kailangan i-multiply natin siya sa derivative ng u with respect to x. Derivative ng u with respect to x. Okay, ganyan. So, substituting again, yung value ng u natin is 3x squared minus 7. Ito na yung magiging function natin, yung derivative. 1/2 ng 3x squared minus 7 raised to negative 1/2. And then, we get the derivative ng 3x squared minus 7 with respect to x. So, y prime is equal to 1 over 3, 1 over 2. This would be square root of 3x squared minus 7 times yung derivative nito. Using our basic rules, this would be 6x. So, that is 3 times 2, tapos x raised to 1 minus 7. 7 is a constant. Okay, so ito na yung sagot natin. If you simplify, that would be 3x over square root of 3x squared minus 7. Again, yung chain rule is, ang gagawin natin, kapag yung function ko is set to be in terms of another variable, ang gagawin mo is, kunin mo yung derivative niya with respect to that variable times yung x natin, given na yung u na yon is a function of x. So, ganito, no? Okay. Now, for the next part of this lesson, we tackle the derivative of products, or what we call the product rule in differential calculus. So, the derivative of a product, u and v are functions in terms of x. That would be u dv over dx plus v du over dx. Or another form is yung product, ub, times yung inverse ng u times yung derivative ng u plus yung inverse ng v times yung derivative ng v. Actually, mas gusto ko tong form na to, lalong-lalo na kapag we are dealing with multiple products tulad nito. So, this is a multiple product, u, v, w, and so on. So, ang gagawin mo lang, kunin mo yung product times yung inverse times yung derivative ng bawat factors. Okay, so example number 4, find y prime if y is equal to this product, no, x minus 3 squared saka 3x plus 7 cubed. So, labelan natin, kung ari ito yung u, ito yung v. Or in other words, yung u ko is x minus 3 squared, tapos yung v, 3x plus 7 cubed. Okay, now sa product rule, kailangan ko yung derivative ng u with respect to x at yung derivative ng v with respect to x. So, yung derivative ng u with respect to x is, we can use the chain rule for this one. So, we have yung exponent ay 2, and then we have x minus 3. Yung exponent, bawasan ng isa, so raised to 1. And then, yung derivative ng nasa loob. Ang derivative ng x ay 1, ang derivative ng 3, which is a constant, ay 0. So, in other words, yung du over dx, derivative ng u with respect to x would be 2 times x minus 3. Okay, how about yung v? Ang derivative naman ng v with respect to x, that would be yung exponent, and then yung function natin, exponent minus 1, so squared. Tapos yung derivative ng nasa loob ng quantity, that would be 3 plus 0. So dv over dx is 9 times 3x plus 7 squared. Okay, now returning to our product rule, y prime is equal to u dv over dx plus v du over dx. So, y prime natin would become x minus 3 squared times yung 9 times 3x plus 7 squared plus yung v ko is 3x plus 7 cube times 2 times x minus 3. Okay, so this is the derivative, and you can simplify it if you want, but that is how we apply the product rule, okay, in combination with the chain rule in this example. So let's look at another example. We need to find y prime if y is equal to 2x square root of 5x squared plus 6. So again, let's say u is equal to 2x and v is equal to square root of 5x squared plus 6. So, ang kailangan natin is ano yung derivative ng u at saka derivative ng v. So, yung derivative ng u with respect to x, that would be equal sa 2. Okay? Yung derivative ng v with respect to x, that would be, ito kasi, this is equivalent sa ano, no? Naka-raise sa 1/2. So, this would be 1/2 5x squared plus 6. So, following yung chain rule kanina. So, magiging 1/2 minus 1. And then, dapat ito naka-multiply doon sa derivative nung nasa loob, which is 5x squared. So, this becomes 10x plus derivative ng 6 ay 0. Okay? So, dv over dx, this would be 10x or 1/2 kasi, no? So, that would be 5x divided by square root na 5x squared plus 6. Okay, nakompleto na yung UV at saka yung mga derivatives nila. We can now use yung product rule natin. For this time, ang gagamitin kong product rule would be yung isang form, UV times 1 over U, du over dx, plus 1 over V, dv over dx. Parehas lang to, no? Gusto ko lang pakita yung isa pang form ng product rule. So, UV is yung original function times 1 over 2x, yung derivative ng u ay 2 plus 1 over square root ng 5x squared plus 6. Yung derivative ng v, ng dv is 5x over square root ng 5x squared plus 6. Okay, and then again, you will use algebra to simplify. For example, yung 2 pwede mo i-cancel and so on. So, ito yung application ng product rule. So, kung meron tayong product rule, of course, we have the quotient rule. So, or the derivative of a quotient. So, sa derivative of a quotient, we have the numerator and the denominator ng isang function. Ang derivative niya is, magsisimula ka sa denominator times derivative ng numerator minus yung numerator times derivative ng denominator over yung square na denominator. Okay? Or sa iba, ginagawa nila dyan is b du over u db over b squared. Okay? Parang sino-shortcut na understood na over dx to. So anyway, let's try to solve some examples involving the quotient rule. So example number 6, what is the derivative of x squared over 4 minus x? So as you can see, ito ang denominator natin, ito ang ating ito ang numerator, ito ang denominator. So yung du over dx, kunin muna natin, ang derivative ng x squared is 2x. Ang derivative naman nung nasa baba, that would be, so dapat sanay na tayo, that would be 1/2 ng 4 minus x raised to negative 1/2. Then times derivative nung nasa loob, which is 0, then negative x, so minus 1. Okay, so ito yung mga derivative natin. So using quotient rule, we have v du over dx minus u dv over dx all over v squared. So yung v natin is square root of 4 minus x times 2x, that's the derivative ng u, minus x squared times, this one is negative 1 over 2 square root of 4 minus x. So, pag sinimplify mo to, this is, negative 1 over 2 square root of 4 minus x yan. Okay? Divided by square nung denominator, of course, dahil naka-square root siya, ang square niya is simply 4 minus x. And again, you can simplify the following using algebra, pero I would be stopping here, no? It's now an exercise for you to simplify this using algebra. Another example for the quotient rule. What is the derivative of the following function? So again, ito yung u, ito yung v. Derivative ng u, that would be, so, dapat sanay na tayo, no? This is 4 minus 3x, naka-square root. So, this is similar to 4 minus 3x na naka-raise sa 1/2. Ito ring sa baba, similar to sa 4 plus 3x na naka-raise sa 1/2. So, ang derivative niya, ang taas, that would be 1/2, 4 minus 3x raised to 1/2 minus 1, that's negative 1/2. Then, derivative nung nasa loob, 0 yon, negative 3x, so that would be negative 3. Okay? Similarly, sa baba, you will get the following derivative. Okay, now, substituting everything doon sa ating quotient rule, we get yung v, okay, v, then derivative nung isa, that would be negative 3 over 2 times 4 minus 3x raised to 1/2, okay, minus yung u, 4 minus 3x raised to 1/2, derivative ng v. So, this is 3 over 2 4 plus 3x is to 1 half divided by yung square ng denominator, which is 4 plus 3x. Now for this one, let's simplify, no, para makita natin kung ano yung sagot. Okay. So how do we simplify this? We can first we can extract yung 3 over 2 both sides. So sige, negative 3 over 2, and this becomes 4 plus 3x over 4 minus 3x raised to 1 half, okay, plus 4 minus 3x over 4 plus 3x raised to 1 half all over 4 plus 3x. So ito, what I can do is I can cross multiply and multiply the denominators. So magiging 4 plus 3x plus 4 minus 3x divided by, let's see, times tong dalawa. This is 16 minus 9x raised to 1 half. Then we have 4 plus 3x. Then, naka-multiply ng negative 3 over 2. Okay? So, again, algebra na lang tayo, no? Nagsisimplify na lang ako. We get 8 over 4 plus 3x saka 16 minus 9x raised to 1 half. And then, dahil naka-multiply ng 3 over 2, this becomes negative 24, negative 12. Yeah. So, this is my answer for the derivative of that last example. Okay? So, ito yung mga basic derivative rules, mga shortcuts. Instead, nagagamit pa tayo nung limit notation. Okay? May limits. Kailangan na lang nating ipamiliarize yung sarili natin sa mga basic rules like the following. At saka yung chain rule, yung product rule.
Like mo yung video kung ayos. Pag hindi, pag mo i-dislike, leave ka ng comment kung bakit, ha? Sige na, subscribe.